Hey, what's up YouTube? This is the Mermail Master coming at you from the Team Time Riders YouTube channel with another video for you. And today I have a video of an all new deck that I'm going to be doing a deck profile on, and that deck is Windups. Now, we haven't seen Windups in a while, but with the recent semi-limiting of Magician, they've started to see a slight bit more play. I still don't think that the deck has nearly the amount of power left because, of course, Windup Carrier Zen Mighty has not yet come off the forbidden part of the list. So there's still a little bit more chances that we have in order to make the deck good. That being said, I have been playing Windups, particularly last format, so this particular list is going to be one that only has one Magician. I wanted to showcase this because I believe that, sort of what I found works with Windups and how I've been running the deck seem to work very, very well within the context of playing several of the other members of our team, as well as taking the deck to locals. So yeah, I'm going to get into the profile. Of course, have the party boat there on the top just for shits and giggles. So to start out this list, we're going to start the deck with one Magician. Magician is basically your playmaker in the deck. When he's activated, his effect, you basically, when a Windup monster activates its effect, this card allows you to special summon one Windup monster from your deck in defense position, and this can be any Windup monster. So it's basically, instead of searching from your deck to your hand, you're basically searching straight from your deck onto your field, which is really, really good to get your plays started off. I'm currently want to test this deck out and see how more than one Magician would fare. But that's one Magician. The next card we're running is 3 copies of Windup Shark. Windup Shark, if anything, is the complete playmaker in the deck. Magician Shark combo is what you really, really want to open up with in the deck. And the best part about Windup Shark is that when you trigger his special summon, when you normal summon a Windup monster, or when you special summon a Windup monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And that special summon is counted as an effect, which means that if you have Magician, or if you have any other Windup monster on the field, or Windup Factory that requires an effect to be activated, Shark will trigger that effect simply by special summoning. In addition, he has a second effect to increase or reduce his level by 1 level during each part. So you can continue to make plays from there and basically, special summon another Magician from your deck and then trigger the effect twice. It's a really, really good card. 3 copies of Windup Rat. Windup Rat will special summon cards from your graveyard, any Windup monster from your graveyard. Very, very good card. Effect activates once, and you can basically combo this with Photon Papal Operative to just keep switching Rat to attack mode, banish it with a Rabbit so that you can use it next turn. A lot of very interesting plays to make with this card. And then finally is Windup Rabbit. Opening this in Factory first turn is guaranteeing you to basically win and be able to go off the next couple of turns. I wouldn't say win. Win is a little bit of a strong term, particularly for Windups in this format, because they just don't have any of their stuff, and even if they did, I doubt, they're a very easy deck to stop at this current point in time, but Rabbit's really great for his effect to banish. You can banish a Magician, then overlay with your Rabbit to, be able to get something else, and then just bring the Magician back next turn, and its effect is going to reset. So, when you remove any Windup monster from the field, their monster effects reset, and Windup Rabbit is the best possible way to do that. Next, we got 2 copies of Windup Warrior. Windup Warrior, basically special summon him with MX Saber Invoker. Also a very good card. Very, very strong. Increases the level of any Windup monster you control by 1, and also increases that monster by 600 attack. You don't really have to use that effect, but the most important effect is him being able to be special summoned from your deck by Invoker and just being another way to go into your rank 5s. And now, for the surprise portion of the deck, we're running 3 copies of Star Seraph Scepter and 3 copies of Star Seraph Sovereignty. Now, these cards have actually gained a lot of popularity due to the Angel Herald decks with Cyber Angels running around. However, I was running these before that was a thing. I've always believed that the Star Seraph engine is one of the most potent rank 4 engines in the game at this current point in time, and then comboing that off with Windups in order to go into powerful rank 4 monsters and just generally you put pressure onto your opponent. Windups really don't have enough pressure. They're all focused on one particular push, and then even that push won't really usually result in an OTK. around 75% of the chance, you won't be able to put lethal damage on board with specific wind-up cards due to that. So what this basically does is the Starslayers slow down the game. They play the War of Attrition with being able to pop stuff. I run Delteros in the extra deck, so that's another card that can like continue to pop your opponent's field. Basically like wear down their cards so that when you finally assemble all the pieces for your wind-up OTK, that you can just OTK onto an open field, into an open hand. So the Starslayers are absolutely necessary. Again with that War of Attrition, running 2 copies of each of the hands, Fire Hand and Ice Hand. Fire Hand and Ice Hand, of course, were very, very big parts of older wind-up strategies. So running 2 Fire Hand, 2 Ice Hand, running through a whole bunch of your opponent's stuff, making that War of Attrition, next turn going for that Delteros with your Starslayers, popping more stuff, and basically you're just destroying your opponent's stuff and wearing down their resources without ever having to use your wind-up cards. There's a lot of cards in this deck that basically slow down the play, so this is not, you know, like Speedroid Terror Top Dot deck like pretty much everything else is. This is a more like slower version of wind-ups that forces your opponent to play at the speed that you are playing. Rather than trying to keep up with them. 2 copies of Effect Failure is pretty self-explanatory. Just use that to negate monster effects, and is a tuner as well, but you don't really run anything in the extra deck. And then 1 copy of Max C in the deck. So that's it for the monsters. I believe the deck is 41 cards total, and I'm now going to move into the spells. 3 copies of Wind Up Factory. Wind Up Factory is your big playmaker in the deck. And this card is one of the strongest cards that you have in your arsenal. If you open up 1 to 2 of these, you're pretty much guaranteed to search all of the wind-up cards that you're going to need for that turn. The biggest issue with wind-ups, however, though, is the lack of the ability for cards like Rabbit and Rat to special summon themselves. But Wind Up Factory still being able to search those cards and generate that hand advantage that you desperately need in the deck is very important. And I absolutely recommend running this card at 3 and none less than that, despite how inconsistent it may seem. Along the topic with hand advantage, I also have 3 MST in the deck, and you may be asking, why run 3 MST when you could run Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclone, you know, a myriad of other different cards to replace it. The reason that I'm running 3 MST in the deck, first and foremost, is because the deck doesn't really like to discard stuff from their hand that often. Most of the plays that you're going to make revolve around being able to use every single card in your hand to the best of its ability. At the same time, you know, you still have to pop cards that your opponent controls, Solemn Strikes, Mirror Forces, different things like that, clearing the field of their stuff. The reason I don't run Cosmic Cyclone, however, you will take a lot of damage when playing this deck, whether from like the cards that you use or simply not being able to drive to your resources, and that 1,000 points of damage hurts a lot more than you would think. Still, though, I believe that when the format sort of switches off to, you know, more cards such as Metal Foe Counter and Metal Foe's, you know, other stuff in like Cosmo Town, spells and traps and stuff that get searches and get effects when they're sent to the graveyard, Mystical Space Typhoon will eventually be hopefully replaced with those Cosmic Cyclones. But I'm liking 3 MST for now. The next card, of course, is 2 copies of Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality is just search power. Very, very good card. And definitely have to run that card to just get to your stuff. Like, there's a lot of times where you'll have cards where, you know, you just summon an Ice Hand, or you set an Ice Hand or a Fire Hand, summon a Star Seraph monster, summon a Rabbit and a Factory. So Duality is necessary to dig to your stuff. And then finally, my secret tech for windups is 2 copies of Messenger of Peace. I absolutely adore this card. It's one of the cards that has won me so many games playing this windup deck. A lot of people don't really see it coming. You know, it's not something that they really want to waste a Twin Twister and MST on. And they just basically, you know, any monster higher than 1,500 points of attack cannot attack. So you can just build up a whole bunch of resources on your side of the field, and if your opponent doesn't draw the outs to it, you know, they basically have to let you sit there and build up resources. I mentioned a little bit about windups being able to slow down the game to the speed of your opponent, and Messenger of Peace really helps you to do that. You can ask any of the other members on Team Time Riders about this card, and they'll probably tell you. Team Time Riders, Fudgems, Oscar, and Godfather have all run into Messenger of Peace and had trouble sort of getting over that card. So it is definitely a very, very good card to be able to run. So yeah, that's it for the spells. And now moving on to the traps. For traps, where would the deck be without 3 Reckless Greed? Reckless Greed just helps you push for everything. It's a Twin Twister's target. You just pop that and then chain Reckless Greed. And if you draw multiples of them, you draw 2 to 4 cards per turn. A lot of your wind-up plays and a lot of your Star Seraph plays predicated on you having more than one card of that particular archetype in your hand. Like, for instance, having a Star Seraph Scepter and a Sovereignty in your hand to be able to go for a Delteros play, or having a wind-up Magician and a wind-up Shark in your hand to be able to go for your main wind-up combo. And Reckless Greed just helps you dig for those combo pieces in your deck and get that stuff to your hand. And as I mentioned, stacking multiple Reckless Greeds is the best feeling ever, because, it's just basically lists your next 2 draw phases have to be skipped. So if you have multiple cards, you just get 4 cards a turn early for the price of 2. And then finally, for other traps, we have 1 Torrential Tribute, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, and 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device to round us out at 41 cards. For a lot of these cards are just basically there, non-targeting destruction for Torrential Tribute, banishing stuff with Bottomless Trap Hole, and then finally being able to use Compulsory Evacuation Device to, put more pressure on your opponent. I'm thinking about throwing a Rafflesia in the deck at some point when I fix up the strategy, but I just wanted to get this deck profile out. So that's 41 cards in the main deck, and now moving on to the extra deck. Of course, we got that 1 Wind-Up Carrier Zen Mighty, which isn't actually supposed to be in here, but I just decided to throw it in here because RIP Party Boat, and it needs to come back. Got 1 number 20 Giga Brilliant. Very, very good card. I haven't really made this as much, since building this wind-up deck, so I might think about taking the card out, but you can overlay this into Corbage and then, go forward from there into other rank 5s and stuff like that. Acid Golem, another very good rank 3. Make sure you make this when you're trying to finish the game, because it doesn't allow you to special summon, and if you inevitably get left with it on the field without materials, then you're basically taking 2,000 each turn. Mech-Equipped Engineer, good for protecting all your monsters, switch from attack to defense mode, very good. Used to run that in Mermails as well. 1 Leviathan Dragon, this is just for shits and giggles because I have the European version. Soul of Silver Mountain, great for stacking rats and rabbits on top of your deck. Locks down an opponent's back row, and when it destroys a monster by battle, you get to special summon an earth monster from your graveyard. So you basically lock down your opponent and then special summon any one of your earth windups from your graveyard. Temtempo, the Percussion Djinn. I think a lot of people have forgotten that this card is even a thing, but Temtempo is both your turn and like other people's turns detach against an XYZ material, and you just gain 1,000 life points. So you're just basically forcefully detaching. Like if your opponent has an arc, you have Temtempo on the field, you just detach their material, boost up to 2,300 and run the thing over. So very, very good card. Even works with Castel as well. When your opponent summons Castel, you just detach for Temtempo. So it basically makes like most XYZ monsters on the field that, have to have 2 XYZ detaches, or like some of the main monsters, it makes them kind of useless. MX Saber Invoker for summoning those wind-up warriors out of your deck. Levier for summoning any of your banished wind-up monsters. Zen Mines, very, very good. Zen Mines has sort of been power creeped at this point, but the only reason that I'm running it in the deck is because it is another wind-up name and can trigger, your wind-up factory and your other wind-up cards. I think a lot of people just ran it as a generic, but it's largely been way power creeped in this format. So that's it for the rank 3s. Moving on to the rank 5s. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the rank 4s first. For rank 4s, we have 3 rank 4s. Photon Papilloperative for basically doing those combos with Wind Up Rat. You just do Magician, Shark, Special Summon a Rat, overlay for Papilloperative, switch the rat from defense to attack, activate the rat's effect to Special Summon your Magician that you detached for Papilloperative back from the graveyard. And if you have a Shark in your hand, you can Special Summon that Shark as well and get Magician's effect to grab another one. And that was sort of those like Photon Papilloperative OTK combos. And I'm thinking about hopefully being able to pick up another ulti. I won't run the card unless it's ulti, unfortunately, so I'm picking up another ulti and, doing that, because this card will spike if windups ever come back into competitive play. 1 copy of Maystroke. He's sort of been way power creep, but there was a point in time where he was the best XYZ in the game, and what better way to commemorate Team Time Riders, which focuses on older archetypes and older monsters, than by, just running Maystroke as kind of like a little troll card in the deck. In addition, if you stack him with 10 tempo, you basically get to protect 10 tempo with Maystroke's effect, which is a really, really cool thing. And most people, if they see 10 tempo and Maystroke on the same field, won't realize that they actually have synergy together. And then finally, Delteros for those light plays, and for, when you have 3 windups on your field, or better yet, when you have 3 Star Seraphs on your field, get advantage going. Overlay into them, you pop a card your opponent controls, and then you draw one, and then Delteros' effect allows you an extra pop. So you pop 2 cards and draw 1 card off of your Star Seraphs, and you basically just make a free monster and get, just destroy your opponent's, like, resources for basically free at the price of a turn. And then now on to the rank 5s. We got 1 copy of number 12 Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja, the card that Michael Stibbins used to win YCS Toronto against Norberto Leon. He ran this in his Inzektor deck. And this is a powerful ninja engine of destruction, and he's capable of destroying your opponent's monsters. So you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout, because motherfucking number 12 Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja is coming for your life points. So watch out. 1 copy of number 31 Abyss Splash for just basically getting over opponent's monsters that are larger than yours. The effect detached to allow him to gain double his attack power, but his battle damage that he inflicts is halved. You can make him with 2 sharks. So at some point, I'm thinking about testing out Bahamut Shark and Tree Toad in the deck as well. But this guy, basically, the number of times I'm able to make him just sort of proves the ability of the deck to be able to push out rank 4s and rank 5s using 2 sharks. Volcasaurus, pretty self-explanatory. Very, very good card. Pop a card and inflict the damage, but he cannot attack directly that turn. Thinking about throwing a Gaia in this deck at some point. And then finally, 1 copy of Wind Up Arsenal Zenmayo. One of the wind up triggers and one of the best rank 5s in the game. Use Zenmayo's special ability to pop up to 2, I think it is exactly 2 face down cards on the field. So this can be something that can trigger your opponent's cards early because they know their stuff is going to get popped. It's a good thing for baiting out Solemn Warnings and stuff like that. You have a whole bunch of windups that you're special summoning. You can get Solemn Warning, you can get those plays through. So definitely Wind Up Arsenal Zenmayo is a great card to have in the deck. As I said, I'm testing out with this deck. Windups and the other cards that I have in the deck are dependent way too much on the normal summon. So if I can figure out a way to use something like double summon or chain summoning to increase the amount of time that I'm allowed to summon in the deck and allowed to put more cards on the field to, sort of compensate for all the draw power that I've been getting with the deck, it would be really, really great and be able to, open the floodgates on what windups can really do. So yeah. This has been my wind-up deck profile for the April format, actually. I'm looking forward to updating this deck for the September format, where Wind-Up Magician is at 2, and then hopefully being able to see a ban list where Party Boat can come back to 1. If you like this video, please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. Tell me things that you're playing in your wind-up deck and how you think that I might be able to improve the general style and play of the wind-up deck itself. As I mentioned, if you like the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And yeah, this has been the Mermail Master for the Team Time Riders YouTube channel, and I'm signing out. See you guys next time. Peace.